Why would I make them so uncomfortable?
It probably has to do with your reputation. They feel your methods, your theories are...
Spooky? Do you think I'm spooky?
His face was so blank and expressionless. He didn't even seem human.
I'm not turning my back on anyone.
Have you ever found a metal implant in your body? Have you checked everywhere?
Mulder, you have to understand!
Put it down!
You put it down first!
Scully!
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Fox Mulder is a Maniac.
Yeah, I am one of the hosts, David Bell.
I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I noticed in the first ever episode we don't introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's fine. They know who we are.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But we should keep it
yeah, we should tell them.
it consistent.
Yeah.
Like I said, this show is called Fox Mulder is a Maniac. It is an episode-by-episode rewatching of the X-Files, but with a critical eye in each episode for just how crazy Agent Fox Mulder is.
And he is.
He is very crazy.
Yeah. So, we've separated this into some rigid sections in order to us to best
Rigid. Like the skeleton of a blimp.
Mm-hmm. For us to best measure just how crazy is each episode.
Yes.
So then we can look back at each season if we wish to, or the entire series eventually.
Oh, both.
And be able to get a firm number on when his peak insanity is.
Mm-hmm.
For what purpose?
Why do we do anything?
That's a good point.
Exact same purposes.
Yeah, because we didn't get into sports when we were young. Yeah. Made some choices.
Made some decisions.
All right.
Decisions.
So let's start with the section 1.
Yeah. What is this X-File? Jersey Devil.
Yes, we are on season 1, episode 5, Jersey Devil. Not one of the most iconic episodes, but it is the source of a meme. Like one of the more memorable Mulder memes, and just
which meme?
It's the picture. I don't know how much of a meme it is, but it's just like that showing that scene played out just without context is a beautiful peak insanity for Mulder.
This is a real milestone episode for batshit Mulderness. It's also a bit of a milestone in terms of this is the first. I can't say it's the only. Excuse me. But it's definitely the first episode of the X-Files wherein there is absolutely nothing supernatural or paranormal in it.
Yes. Mulder tries really hard to make it special.
Really tries to force that round peg into that square hole.
Yeah, I will argue this is the first one where Mulder is wrong and convinces himself that he's right at the end.
He is objectively wrong.
And he never says, oh, I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the point of the episode isn't that he's wrong.
Yeah.
We're still supposed to believe what he says, even though he has no evidence. So, getting into the plot, it starts with a flashback of a family.
In 1947.
Yeah. And
on a family car trip to Atlantic City in the middle of the night.
Yeah. They're going to sell those kids.
Yeah, they are.
And they pull over, I think, the tire.
They have a blowout. Tire blows out.
And the father gets torn into the woods.
Yep, his leg gets eaten. Some sort of creature.
And then that's the opener.
Yeah, that's the cold open.
That's the teaser.
Yeah.
And then we go to Mulder and Scully brings the case to Mulder, saying that there's been reports of people being eaten in the woods of Jersey.
People being cannibalized.
Yeah, and that it's not an animal. And Mulder is immediately intrigued.
Yeah.
Goes to Atlantic City and starts investigating the premise of the Jersey Devil.
Right, which is kind of an East Coast Bigfoot.
Yeah. And what he finds is evidence of homeless people being eaten by some sort of Neanderthal, or so he thinks.
Right. It turns out not to be Neanderthal, just a family of people who have just lived in wild people who've just lived in the forest.
I would suggest crazy people.
Oh yeah.
We'll get into that because Mulder. That's not the conclusion. That's technically not the conclusion of the episode.
No.
The conclusion of the episode is it's a family of Neanderthals. The husband, the dad, the male Neanderthal is they find his body already, and then it's a hunt for the female.
Yes.
Mulder butts heads with the local authorities for most of it.
In typical Mulder fashion.
Yeah, he tries to. He teams up with a park ranger, and they try to knock out the lady Neanderthal, and in the end, she is shot by the cops.
Yep.
And it sort of concludes with like Mulder just sort of being like, those fucking cave people. There's probably kids out there. I'm really psyched about this. And then the last shot is yes, sure enough, there's 2 like kids in the woods.
I think you just see one.
Just one?
Yeah.
And that's sort of the episode.
It ends.
There's not much
now
to
there's
it.
a little child.
Yeah, who's gonna
naked
die
and alone
in the
forest. Yep.
So that's the episode.
Yeah.
So let's get right in to our first section, World's Luckiest Detective.
Yes.
Well, right away, he gets the case from Scully just going up to him and being like, "So I heard of a case."
Yeah. Heard about this case?
She's not bringing it.
We're gonna circle around back to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She's not bringing it to him as a case for him too, because she's like, "Here's a funny thing I heard." But then when he starts pursuing it, she's like, "No, Mulder, this is
not our case." Yeah.
Gonna
come back to that.
We'll come back to that scene.
Yeah,
because I have a lot.
A few times.
A lot to talk about with that scene. Mulder, I feel like we should just go through his investigative process in this, because in the last episode we brought up the idea that Mulder is just twisting in the wind. He's
right, or he's a conduit.
Yes, or he's a conduit.
Yeah.
This one, it's very much that, because he goes to Atlantic City and. His first investigative method is obviously he goes to the cops, and the cops are like, "No, we don't want your help."
Right, like he goes to look at the body, and the sheriff's like, "Nah, fick you," or the detective.
Yeah, does he imply that it's the Jersey Devil at that?
He does not.
Okay, so they're just like, "We don't need you."
Yeah, the local detective is just immediately hostile.
Yeah, so Mulder goes to the phone book and just finds the park ranger.
Yeah, he finds the number to the state park. In a phone book in Atlantic City.
And he calls a park ranger, and he just happens to get a park ranger who is like really into the Jersey Devil.
Right. He finds the one park ranger who is DTF about the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, and extremely helpful.
Just gung motherfucking ho to help Mulder find this Jersey Devil.
Yeah. He then finds a homeless camp and a man who, and we'll get to how he finds it.
Yeah, I was going to say I really want to talk about that. If we're going through it beat by beat just for his investigative steps. He walks up to the Union Mission where there's a bunch of homeless people camped out front and just starts shouting the victim's name.
Yes. Just the victim, not anything else. Like, I'm looking for information.
He's just Roger Crockett. He just starts shouting Roger Crockett. Anybody know Roger Crockett? Roger Crockett.
Yeah, and then a homeless guy is like, hey.
Not only does it work, he finds a perfect witness. Like, you got to think.
Yes. Yes and no, I'm going to
say. I mean, because the witness has definitely seen, the witness knew Roger Crockett personally, is able to clue him into some important evidence, the illustration that he gives him of the Jersey Devil.
Right, which is not evidence.
No. Has seen the Jersey Devil nearby recently.
Right. You're right. He's the closest to a friend of the Jersey Devil.
Right. The fact that, like, Mulder walks into a homeless camp and just shouts this guy's name and immediately gets a perfect, credible witness to both Roger Crockett's disappearance and the existence of the Jersey Devil is just, like, lucking out in, like, several different areas.
Yes.
Because, like, he manages to find somebody who's not mentally ill.
Yep.
Who knew Roger Crockett personally by his both real and full name.
Right. that's yeah.
And also trusts law enforcement.
Right. And so then he swaps places. He's like, okay, well, you go to my hotel. I'll pretend to be homeless. That night, he runs into the Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil just comes right back to go through the garbage. Mulder sleeps in the trash.
Yeah, he sure does.
Wrapped in a hobo blanket.
His next lead comes later after a bunch of stuff happens. We're going to
get to all of that.
Where he gets a call from the park ranger who's just like, yeah, I found a dead body of one of these things.
I found a dead Neanderthal.
It's like,
oh, did you?
Oh, well, that's nice. So again, he's just sort of twisting in the wind.
Yeah, they show up. Scully takes him to an anthropologist that used to be one of her teachers, presumably.
Yes.
to like dissuade Mulder from his Jersey Devil is really just a what do they call them? Remnants? Yeah. Neanderthals that never went extinct, and they're just living in the New Jersey wilderness. She takes him to this professor to like talk some sense into him, being like, look, man, this just can't happen. But like the guy is also totally DTF over some Jersey Devils. So like Scully accidentally brought him to like the one wrong anthropology professor. Like this guy's like so taken. It's like, well, I guess it's like Mulder at the end of the conversation, Mulder gets him to admit that, yeah, it could be Neanderthals.
It was so funny because the way he gets him to admit it, he's just like, is it possible? And he's just like, I guess in the sense that everything's possible in the world. Like it's that where it's like, is there even a point,
Right.
0.0001%
So you're
chance?
saying there's a chance. Like he's like, well, I guess it'd be possible in like jungles of Venezuela or something, but like in the middle of the city in New Jersey, Mulder's like, okay, it's unlikely, but not outside of the realm of extreme possibility. Is what he says to him.
No, I guess not.
And the guy's like, it would be quite a find. Yeah. And so when the park ranger finds the dead Neanderthal and it cuts to them at the medical examiner's office discovering that the body's been taken, the professor is there.
Yeah.
So Mulder called him and was like, yo, I found a Neanderthal. And the professor's like, hang on, I'll be right there.
Yep.
So like Scully's plan to dissuade Mulder like backfires 10,000%. She's like, I'll take him to my old anthropology professor. He'll talk some sense into him. And they just wind up becoming best friends and playing magic together and shit.
They then track down the Jersey Devil by going to the warehouse that they saw her.
Right, that she climbed on top of.
Which is one of those, they go during the day.
Mm-hmm. Middle of the day.
And she's just there living there. Mm-hmm. But why is she living there?
No reason.
Yeah. Her kid is out in the forest.
Right.
What are the odds that she would still be there?
Zero odds.
That's it. They literally are just like, I wonder if she's there. And they go and she is. And then the story ends on that.
Right. It's like
Mulder, you didn't investigate anything.
It's like seeing a celebrity someplace.
Right.
Like, oh, I saw fucking Peter Dinklage at pavilions. Right. And then just going back to the same pavilions, like 70% certain you're going to find and trap Peter Dinklage there again.
Right.
It's like, no, it's like they just go to the one place they've ever seen the Jersey Devil.
And that happens
and
to be.
she's there.
Yeah. I mean, that did happen at the Rouse down the street from here with Craig Robinson.
Where with Craig Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, where I think it was Alex was like, I think I saw Craig Robinson there. And then there were multiple sightings. I was like, oh, I guess he just lives around here. But what are the fucking odds?
Right, yeah. Like,
yeah, okay. Should we talk about in this section what the Jersey Devil is, or should we wait for that?
In terms of Lucky Detective?
Yeah, I guess it isn't a lucky situation.
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's lucky that it just happens to turn out to be exactly what he theorizes it is.
Yeah.
There's a moment where he says, okay, this fits in.
Okay.
When the park ranger calls him and is like, we found a dead one, it's a male. And he's like, are you sure it's a male?
Yeah.
I guess because he saw the woman the night before.
Right, yeah.
Okay. That makes a little more sense. Because he calls the professor and it's like, they found one. Or wait, no, like when he shows up, okay, so he gets on the phone with the park ranger, he's like, are you sure it's a male? And the guy's like, yeah, all the plumbing. So they get to the medical examiner's office and professor's there, and he says, so you found a female. So Mulder has already called this guy to be like, there's two. There's a mating pair.
You're right. And
then like at one point he says like there's a 50-50 chance that there's a mated pair. It's like, where are you getting this from?
Yeah. Also, this could have just been
a homeless person.
Yeah, a meth head.
Yeah.
Like the Mulder just hears that people are getting eaten in the woods by somebody, and he's just like, Neanderthal. Again, I don't want to say and he's right, because I don't think he is, and we'll get to that.
Quite literally, when he shows back up at the warehouse with the park ranger and the professor to hunt the Jersey Devil lady, they're just chasing a naked homeless woman.
Yes.
That's all she is.
Yes. And I guess, I don't know, we should get into Mulder After Dark.
Mulder After Dark.
So I think this counts for Mulder After Dark. It might even be fireable offenses. At no point is this a Neanderthal.
No.
At the very end, they're like, we did an autopsy and we saw nothing abnormal.
Unless they're lying.
Yes. But that's what's funny about it is like, why, like, I guess I want to get into that. I don't know what I want. There's so much to unpack. Mulder thinks there's a cover-up. He thinks that there's a casino cover-up of the Jersey Devil to protect their profits.
Right, because Mulder theorizes the detective is dragging ass on the case, which he presumably pretty much is.
But what?
Because it's like the mayor from Jaws situation. They don't want there to be a Jersey Devil outbreak that'll scare away the gambling tourists.
What an insane idea.
Yes.
He says any publicity and the streets will be crawling with the kind of people who aren't here to play crap tables. Does he think that there is a cover-up because the police are scared that Atlantic City will be overrun by Bigfoot enthusiasts, and that'll hurt the gambling industry?
Right. Like what Bigfoot enthusiast doesn't also have a crippling gambling addiction?
Why wouldn't that just be another thing? Who's going to be like, you want to go to Atlantic City this weekend? Nah, man, I hear they got big feet.
Right. Who's going to be like, we can't take our children there? There's big feet there. No.
No.
You set up like a Bigfoot cafe. You put some slot machines in it. It's like, try to see the Jersey Devil. We have a Starline tours going around trying to spot the Jersey Devil and also play some craps. Right there. Like, no. No.
It never crosses Mulder's mind that the reason the police are dragging ass is because they just think it's like a meth head eating homeless people.
Right.
Or like the mob. And they're just like, he's just like, no, this has to be a cover up.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they probably just don't care.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, the detective literally says he got dragged away from a fishing trip at 3 a.m. So it's like, Mulder, could it be that the detective of a resort community, we'll call it, doesn't care about the homeless people?
Yeah. And could it be that you are tranking and chasing a naked crazy lady through the woods?
Just all he saw is some lady rooting through the trash. And then he is BFFs with this anthropology professor. He gets him and this park ranger down there to like trap this specimen. It's like all you saw was a lady pulling shit out of the trash.
At the end of the episode, after it's concluded, like, okay, there's nothing abnormal about these bodies, and he's just like, it's a Neanderthal. I know it.
On my way to the Smithsonian.
Yeah, he's on his way to the Smithsonian to talk to an ethnobiologist and tell him about it. And it's like, tell him what?
Right. He says, I can't wait to tell him about these findings. What are you gonna?
What is that meaning?
There's a couple of fun.
I found nothing.
Right. There's some fun things about Mulder to that extent, where he takes it like we discussed in the previous section. It seems like he just happened to find the most just gung fucking ho park ranger and anthropologist who are willing to just go on him chasing this Jersey Devil. But we're not thinking about it from their point of view.
Yes.
You have this park ranger who has a federal agent come down and be like, look, man, everything you think about this Jersey Devil is true. It's a Neanderthal. He's like, oh, shit. This government official is telling me there's a Neanderthal. We got to catch it. And then the professor is the same thing where I guess it's possible. Well, guess what, professor? I found one.
And they're just like, we assume this man has more information than we do.
Yes.
And so we're going to go along with him. And then the cops show up and they're like, have you seen this agent? And I mean, I guess
he has them convinced to lie.
Yeah, we'll get to name the enablers, but that's like, holy shit.
They're so taken in that they fucking lie for him. Like, they're so convinced.
At that point, like, I would have been like, wait, why are you looking for this man?
It's
holy fucking shit.
Oh, it's oh man, it's we forget. You forget the general you watching the show what a position of authority Mulder occupies.
Yeah,
as an FBI agent, like if an FBI agent came to your house and was like, "Look, there's a tiger right downstairs in the parking structure. and we need all of you guys to get out of here so that we can trap this tiger. You'd be like, wow, you wouldn't be like, let me see some You'd be like, wow, that's wild. There's a tiger here. So like if you're a professor of anthropology and this FBI agent comes to you and is like, are remnants possible? Yeah, I guess they're possible. Well, guess what? We found one and it's eating people and I need your help. You'd be like, shit, the government needs my help. Like, you assume that he is in possession of numerous facts, has the backing and support of the federal government.
This is why he never shows up later, because he probably, as he learned more, he's just like, but he said there was, and they're like, there's no evidence. We're pretty sure it's just a crazy hobo.
Just a crazy homeless lady.
It's like, so he just assumed?
With a belly full of other homeless people. Like, that's the only thing they Scully says that they found in the autopsy was that she had definitely eaten the homeless people. Like,
That's it.
Okay, so rewinding to the very beginning of the episode.
Okay, I also, real quick, just a quick note.
Yeah.
Mulder definitely wants to fuck the Jersey Devil in this. He calls her beautiful.
Yes.
There's like, they have an intense moment together. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
He's super, yeah. Mulder can't, I think, and this might just be residual Duchovny, but I think Mulder can't, like, not throw looks at every female
naked.
that's
There's
not
a naked
Scully.
lady.
Yeah.
Tackled him. He's just like, hello.
He's like, oh, this is my afternoon is looking up.
Yeah.
Okay. So this episode opens, and this is a very important moment in Mulder's character. When Scully comes down into the basement to tell him about the cannibalized corpse, and he's staring intently at porn.
Yep.
He's staring intently at a porno magazine.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first of many, many times we'll talk about Mulder's porn addiction. This is the first Mulder porn.
He's looking at the centerfold, and Scully walks in and sees what he's doing, and he starts telling, this lady was abducted by aliens. She spent a lot of time being weightless. So, not only is Mulder in his basement office
looking at porn
during
work.
Business hours, just staring intently at porn during work when he presumably has cases, he's looking at alien abductee porn.
Yes.
Which means he is either the editor of this publication or its only subscriber.
Right. Well,
who else is this for?
I went ahead and paused.
Sure.
And I have some information about what he's reading.
Good.
It's called Hanky Panky, the magazine.
Okay, sure.
Right away, that's a British term.
Mm-hmm.
Right away, it reminded me of the fact that Mulder, what we later find out, his most intense sexual relationship is with a British woman.
Right.
So
on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's tombstone.
Yes. So that's we will get to that. So that he's buying this. The phrase implies like naughty sex, like workplace sex, or like it's a little hanky panky. I read everything on the cover, and here's the different like headlines.
Sure.
First one is cyber sex. Can you really catch a computer virus? Okay.
All right.
This was a prop, by the way. I looked up. This magazine doesn't exist.
Of course not. So they're talking about literally fucking a computer.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Death Wish. Hedonism in the 90s. That was the other headline. I don't know what they're called. The sub-headlines.
Yeah, that's distressing.
Yep. Spelled wrong, but it was... Next one is Weird Connections. Letters from a small Midwestern college. I assume that's where the alien fucking came from. I assume.
Probably.
Like, I don't know. It could have just been a different thing. The next one, in a different font, just said, a bountiful bevy of beautiful bare-bottomed babes. So we know Mulder's into asses.
He's an ass man.
Yeah. And the final and most important thing written is mind-expanding articles. What is this magazine?
Mulder publishes this magazine out of that basement office.
Yeah, he printed it out and like stapled it, and then he was like, "Look at this, Scully. Look at this thing I'm reading."
Right. It's the next stage of his slideshow preparation. It's like, now I'm going to put together a porno mag and see what Scully says when she comes down here.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It is perfect. What a magazine. The other thought is that, either that or it's the thing he gets every week.
Right.
With the other stacks of porn he gets. Jesus Christ. We'll get back to that in fireable offenses.
We're going to circle back around to that for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
very quickly after that, Mulder starts talking about the Jersey Devil in relation to the case, and Mulder's like, "Yeah, I heard the story about the Jersey Devil." And Scully's like, "Mulder, that's a folk tale. Like, I heard that story when I was a kid too." And Mulder's like, "Yeah, I heard that story when I was a kid too. Thing is I believed it."
Yep.
Okay, so let's pause. We know from previous episodes that Mulder was not interested in the paranormal or extraterrestrial until he happened upon the X-Files.
Right. He's just a gullible kid.
So that means that he didn't grow up in New Jersey, right?
No, I think
Northern Virginia, right, or DC?
I think his mom's in Martha's Vineyard.
Oh no,
I don't know if he grew up
he's
there.
born in like Minnesota or something, because it says it said in the last episode it had where his sister was abducted, or Michigan, something like that.
Yeah,
we should really know where Mulder grew up.
we should.
So was this just the one weird ghost story he believed as a
Apparently.
kid? Just the Jersey? Was he just really into the Jersey Devil?
I think we're gonna learn that Mulder was into some real nerdy, dumb shit as a kid, and it did inform his passion for the. Like, I feel like what happened is Mulder reverted back into
maybe
child.
Sure, that could be a thing. That's
after
true.
his divorce that I have now.
Right, that is now canon in our
Yeah.
minds. His divorce.
Like, the X-Files just dragged him back. So I think when he was a kid, he believed in aliens and Bigfoot and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he grew up. Mm-hmm. And, like, his sister's abduction was definitely fucked him up. But then he got older, and that's when the regression therapy happened, the
hypnosis.
The hypnosis.
Yeah.
And that's when it all came back, and now he's just a kid again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he was reading some shitty magazines as a kid with
he was reading some
Tales
bullshit.
of the Jersey Devil.
He was really into that Jersey Devil video game they made for PlayStation.
Yeah. Other observations, this continues Mulder just hating local law enforcement.
Yeah, he really
Yes,
hates
they are kind of dickheads in it, but he is like, it's a white hot rage. He defies them every step.
My favorite bit is when the detective is like, no, we don't need your help. Now get out of here. And he's like, well, there's no need to get bent out of shape. And the guy's like, I think I've been exceedingly polite. You can leave now. And Mulder has the dumbest look on his face, but just continues to hold the guy's stare. And then he's like, all right, and then leaves. Like, he had that look that kids get when they freeze. Like, when you've either caught them doing something or they just can't think of a lie, and they just lock up. So they just have this dumb. It's this what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass look. Yeah. From the Big Lebowski, where it's just like, I can't think of anything to say, so I'm just gonna lock up. So he just holds this detective stare with just the gooberest look on his face, just like.
Then he walks
mouth
out,
slightly open.
He walks out with Scully, throws him his keys, and he's like, "Here, you drive back to DC." I kind of want to explore this first from Scully's perspective, because Scully is just like, Mulder, I don't want to drive alone. It's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm going to have fun in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
She has to go to a birthday party. This is one of the glimpses into Scully's life that she has at the beginning of the series. That
her sad, awful life.
Yeah, that never pans out.
I don't know where these fit, but there is a couple of observations I have.
Oh, about Scully's.
About Scully, like she has to get back to DC for her godson's birthday party at 6:30. What kind of shitty ass parent throws their child a birthday party at 6:30 on a weeknight?
That's fucked up.
You're a fucking monster.
Yeah, I mean, she has a.
And we find out it's Friday night, but still.
Yeah, still.
Fuck you. Have that shit Saturday.
I love that the series, they have these moments for at first where it's like, see, Scully does other things, and then near the end it's like, no, she doesn't have connections anymore. No. Her friends don't call her.
We never see this lady again.
So that's Mulder throwing her the keys and just wandering off into Atlantic City.
Yep.
Scully has the godson's party, has like a whole weekend, and then comes into work Monday.
Yep.
And gets a call from Mulder.
Yep.
That's, I need you to bail me out in Atlantic City.
And she's on the phone. She's like, Mulder, where are you? And then you don't hear his response. And then she says loudly, you're in the drunk tank? Yeah. And like one agent reacts. Yeah. Because they know. Like,
new partner, huh?
They fucking know Mulder. They know Mulder's deal. When I wanted to point out that when they get up there and have the shitty meeting with the sheriff, and then Mulder tosses her the keys and like, I'm just gonna I'll sit here and try to dig up some stuff on the case. You go back. He's fully prepared to spend the entire weekend in Atlantic City with no transportation and no change of clothes. He's just wearing the clothes he was wearing when they drove up there that day.
For a weekend, Mulder spends his life like a homeless man. He first, all right, so I was trying to figure out this journey. He walks from Scully, we don't see it, but to a casino.
Yes.
He finds a phone book, calls the park ranger. Park ranger, I assume, picked him up at the casino or was close by, and he walked there. They drive out into the woods, and then he asks the park ranger, how far is town from here? And he says, like, a mile and a half. And then we cut back to Scully doing the birthday,
party,
the party. And then it cuts back to Mulder, and he's just walking through the woods. Yep. It's like, oh, he's walking.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him walking into the homeless camp. So so far, he has walked to a casino, gotten a ride to the woods, walked from the woods.
To the Union Mission.
No plan. He presumably got a hotel.
He did at some point.
But I don't think he had checked into the room. I think he just got the key. Probably when he was at the casino.
Sure.
Calling the guy. He starts screaming.
He just shows screaming the name, Roger Crockett.
He meets a hobo who gives him a picture, a scribbling of a Neanderthal that looks like it was drawn by a child.
We need to stop here for a second.
Okay.
But we have to.
He gives him $20 for it too.
And his room key.
We
have to talk about this drawing.
Yes. This drawing is amazing.
This drawing.
And Mulder is so serious about the drawing.
There's
a scene later where he's just looking through. He's at night in his office alone, and he's just looking through Bigfoot pictures.
Yeah,
and I was waiting for that drawing to be amongst them.
He shows this to the detective as evidence. Yes. Like he is completely taken in by this drawing, which looks like young Terry Gilliam doing the robot.
Yes,
like it looks like Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes,
just
but like
mid-robot.
Yeah.
Like
drawn with somebody's left hand.
Yeah, it looks like a child's drawing of a person with long hair.
Yeah. And that's evidence of just like I saw this person.
And he clutches this thing like a talisman for the entire episode.
That was the meme is like the sheriff saying like something to Mulder, and Mulder very seriously holding up the picture. It's like, this is it. This is his whole theory. This fucking insane.
The drawing is so just fantastically hilarious that if you saw that meme, you would assume somebody had photoshopped in the drawing.
Yes.
Like, it's so dumb.
It looks like a spoof.
Yeah. It's the dumbest thing. So it looks like dick butt.
Yes.
Like, it's the dumbest drawing. And like he has like a brief moment of rationality when the homeless guy hands him the drawing. He looks at it, and the guy says, "Oh," and he's like, "Where'd you see her?" And it's like, "I saw her there the other night." He looks at the drawing and looks at the guy, and he says, "Are you hustling me?" Like that. He has like 2 seconds, of rationale.
Like, no, and he's like, "Okay,
all right, I totally believe this then." And then
here's
for the
rest
of the episode, he's just like on board with this fucking drawing.
Yeah, and then he gives this guy his hotel keys, which isn't. I was thinking about this, like that's a nice gesture. But also, like, I don't even know if that guy's going to get into that hotel.
They might not let him in.
Yeah.
Like, he could say, "I got a key." They'd be like, "Who'd you steal that from?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but at the same time,
murder?
It's a casino, so I could also imagine, like,
a lot of people
wandering in, like, looking like crap because they had a night.
So the drawing is enough to convince Mulder to spend the night in the trash.
Yep. So far, Mulder has thrown his car away. Thrown his hotel away.
Yes.
And has been wandering Atlantic City for a day in a suit. And now he is in an alleyway.
Sleeping in the trash.
Yep. And then he chases the Jersey Devil, and the cops find him and rightfully assume he needs to be
a homeless person.
detained.
He gets arrested.
He resists arrest.
Sort of.
He goes, "Get your hands off me."
Well,
like one of those.
He doesn't identify himself, at least not in a scene that we like. We'll talk about that under fireable offenses because he technically gets arrested for vagrancy.
Yeah. So then he gets arrested.
Yeah.
He's there for I don't know how long. He calls Scully
all night.
She drives back to Atlantic City for 3 hours, and he's like, and then I wrote down the line.
He might have even been there for an entire day.
Right. Yeah. Then she bails him out, and she's like mad, and he just goes, "You gonna rag on me, or you gonna take me to get something to eat?" And it's like, Mulder, shut the fuck up. There's a part later where, it's earlier after he bails on her, where the Scully's sister, or not sister, friend,
it's your friend,
is like, "What about your," like talking about, "Ooh, you should get together with a guy. You should have a kids. What about this partner?" And she's like, "Mulder, he's a jerk."
Right.
And she like corrects herself, like, "No, he's just passionate about his work."
I have that written down because she immediately corrects herself after she says, "No, he's a jerk." No,
she was sort of right the first time.
He's not a jerk. He's obsessed with his work. So like her initial knee-jerk response is to say that he's a jerk, but then it's like, well, no, he's not a jerk. He's just obsessed with his work, and then it hard cuts to him walking through the forest.
Right.
But that suggests that she's mad at him, which made me wonder, was Mulder supposed to go to that birthday party?
Maybe.
Like, had she invited him and then he forgot?
Yeah, I feel like she would learn not to invite him to things soon.
Yeah, it's delightful.
But yeah, and then they go to a diner, and Mulder's yelling about Bigfoots in the diner, disheveled.
Shoveling food into his gullet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure then when she takes him to the professor, he still smells and looks like a homeless man.
He's shaved.
He's shaved?
I can't tell if his suit has changed, but I definitely know, like, when he wakes up in the drunk tank, and then when Scully picks him up and they're at the diner, he's like unshaven. But when he meets the professor, he's shaved.
Okay, so he cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, she presumably was like, Mulder, you smell like piss.
But he definitely, man, he just wears the same clothes for like at least 2 or 3 days in this.
That's what happens when you go to Atlantic City to look for Big Feet, and then they're like, I'll just stay here and look for Big Feet without any luggage, not even a toothbrush.
Yep. This could go in a lot of things, but final observation I have here is that just noting that had Mulder never been involved in this, though that woman probably wouldn't have been shot, and her kid wouldn't starve in the woods.
Maybe she might have still kept eating homeless people.
Yeah, I guess.
That's another weird. Like, he draws the conclusion, no, she was just feeling threatened, and she didn't kill me because I wasn't a threat. And I'm like, what about the homeless guy she ate? Because we know it was her. Because when the park ranger finds the dead Neanderthal man, he's been dead for some time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mulder extrapolates a lot of... Scully even calls him on it. She's like, you're ascribing motive and intent to this thing now, and you have no idea what it even is.
Right.
So he gets a little ahead of himself. I have a couple more things I want to point out.
Sure.
This is neither here nor there, but when Scully goes on her terrible date with that boring guy that her friend set her up with, Mulder pages her just to tell her, I had an amazing thought. What if it isn't a beast man we're looking for?
It's weird that Scully doesn't immediately go, Mulder, what the fuck? Like,
well, because she's relieved. Like, her date's going so bad that she's relieved.
But it's pure luck that her date's going bad.
Right. Like, I love the fact that he paged her just to say, what if it's not a beast man? That's it. Have a good night.
Mulder is he's down low. He's secretly jealous at this point.
Yeah, because he does ask her if she can cancel.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's crushing on Scully. I think he probably is. I think he gets the crush on Scully before she gets anything towards him.
I feel
like this is more like he might be just jealous that she's doing things that isn't with him.
I think it's more that. I think it's like what we said in earlier episodes where he's like, I have a friend. Yeah. Like, I think he's just annoyed that she's not doing all the things he wants to do.
That said, the way he comes to this conclusion, the reason he decides to call Scully is they show her on her date, and like I said, then they show him alone in his office in the dark flipping through Bigfoot pictures.
Yep.
I don't know what he's getting from that, but he just flips to one that's a crude drawing with boobs.
Yep.
And he's just like, I should call Scully.
Right. What if it's a beast lady? Like, it doesn't impact it anything.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any difference in the progress of the case of the investigation of whether or not it's a beast man or a beast woman. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think a lot's happening there. I think he also probably saw the picture and he's like, what if it's a beast lady? I should jerk off.
Yeah, I need to jerk off.
I have that magazine.
Isn't that an exciting thought? Like, it was so mind blowing to him that he, like it's almost as if he paged Scully in the middle of her day to be like, what if the doctor was a lady?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's so mind blowing for him. He uses a state employee on duty and in uniform to conduct an official manhunt for a beast woman in an abandoned factory.
I think that's where we get into the next section.
That's just craziness. Let me see if I have any more. Oh, yeah, at the end there with the ethnobiologist at the Smithsonian. No idea who Mulder is. All he knows is that an FBI agent is calling him being like,
Exactly.
I found Neanderthals.
It's going to be one of those conversations where it's going to start with them like, oh, wow. And as it keeps going, it'll be like, huh.
They're going to slowly...
So you have no evidence of this.
It's like...
This is just a story you came up with, huh?
It's like when you get this might be a little too inside baseball, but it's like Marina and I went to a clinic one time that had been referred to us for pain management or something. And we're talking to the doctor, who was this bright and engaging woman. And as the conversation progressed, she suddenly started talking about fillings and toxins, and so it's like a couple minutes in, we were like, "Oh no!"
You slowly back out.
You got to take all of your metal fillings out because it's filling your body with poison. I really think if we replace your metal fillings with plastic ones, it'll cure your chronic pain. We're like, "Oh shit!"
This is like, wow.
And you need to have
That's
cleanses.
The same, yeah.
So it's like they just realize, like, "Oh, you're crazy."
That's what I imagine with the park ranger too, and the little friends he picked up on along the way.
Yeah.
Like after this episode, they like cocked a few times on the phone, and he's just like, "Yeah, I mean, the government denies the existence of these aliens." And they're like, yeah.
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 Because I had that written on. They should have brought the park ranger and the professor back for more adventures, but I think that's exactly what happened. Is they talked a few times. That's why he's so weird with Scully. She can't really abandon him because she's assigned to him.
Yeah, she is not allowed.
Yeah, she's like imprisoned by his company. So,
does that take us to name the enabler?
I think so, because the rest of the things I have could technically fall under fireable offenses.
Right. Oh wait, are we in? Sorry, we're in fireable offenses.
Yes.
Bad. So let's go into fireable offenses.
Right, like I was saying, he uses a state employee, the park ranger, in an unofficial investigation, and gets him to lie to the local police.
Yeah, he gets arrested.
He goes. All right, yeah, he teams up, holds an unofficial investigation, and just trespasses. Yes.
With a trank gun and chases down a homeless lady.
Right. He
tranks her.
Right. This isn't a superhuman or paranormal creature. He just unofficially, with a state employee and a civilian, chases down a naked homeless lady and shoots a dart in her neck.
Can you imagine how that would have worked? Like if they she had survived and not freaked out, she would just sue the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing, Mulder?
It's just a homeless lady.
Yeah, he's just chasing through the woods.
I'm pretty sure Scully goes with him to the Smithsonian just to make sure there's not an incident.
Yeah, I can see that. She cancels her date.
Cancels her date and be like, no, I got to go with you to this thing. This guy has no idea what he agreed to.
Yeah. All right.
Or gal. We don't know the gender of the enthymologist.
That's true. Could be a Bigfoot woman.
Right. This is another thing he would have paged Scully about. This Smithsonian expert I've been talking to, it's a lady.
All right. Let's go to name the enabler. Because there's a few in this. Scully.
Right off the bat, it's Scully.
Yeah, she bails Mulder out of jail.
She walks in and tells him about the case.
Yeah, you don't tell him about that.
Why would you tell him about it? Like, what did she expect his reaction was going to be? He was going to be like, oh, that reminds me of this X-file I have where all these homeless people. Like, of course he's got an X-file.
Really quick, going back to fireable offenses, too.
Oh, right.
That scene, Scully should have walked in and went, nope, and walked out, and HR would have been immediately notified, like, he is looking at porn in his office right now.
In his basement office.
In his basement office. I am not working with this man.
Nope. Don't want to walk in on that again.
Yeah. Scully happens to be someone who's just like, oh, check it out. Look at that porn. Yeah, she's apparently cool with it.
Or thinks it's funny. Because she makes a joke about it.
Yeah. Which is like, okay, I guess that's her right. But still, she should at least be like, hey, Mulder, you can't do that.
You can't be looking at porn.
What if I was sensitive about that sort of thing? Like,
we don't know each other that well yet.
Yeah, we don't know. You can't just be looking at porn.
Also, this is unprofessional.
Yeah.
Before we completely leave fireable offenses behind, I'm a little bit on Mulder's side for the vagrancy arrest. Because he's not...
Yeah, I know.
We don't see... He fails to identify himself, at least in that scene.
It's bad on paper more.
Right.
The whole episode's bad on paper.
But, like, in his defense, Yeah, he's a little disheveled, but he is a federal agent walking in the street. He's not being a vagrant.
Right.
And he tells the local law enforcement, there is a person on top of that building that I'm pursuing. And they're just like, all right, drunkie.
Yeah.
It's like, he's an FBI agent.
It would have been amazing if he whipped out the picture. Like, no, it's this person.
It's this. He's up there on the roof. We gotta find him.
Well, okay, I do and I don't get it because it's also Atlantic City.
Yeah, sure.
So a guy in a suit wandering the world being like, there's someone on the roof. Like,
Yeah.
I can see them being like, all right, like, you're just one of a million people who we've had this similar conversation with.
This didn't. I forgot about this. This doesn't really fit neatly in any category. Maybe Mulder After Dark.
Okay.
But when he's talking to the detective, when he shows him just confidently shows him that drawing, he makes like 3 gambling references within 2 sentences.
You're right.
Like he's like, you're gonna roll the dice, and all those buses start rolling in here. People are gonna start disappearing like coins in a slot machine. It's like, all right, Mulder.
Calm down, Mulder.
You used the word rolling twice in the same sentence.
Where we get you're excited to be in Atlantic City.
Yeah, he'd been thinking about that ever since he froze up in the medical examiner's room.
You're right.
when the detective told him to fuck off. Like, he's been thinking about that.
He's had to come back.
He's like, I need to dunk on this guy, and I need to use gambling terms to do it because he's a detective in Atlantic City.
That's perfect.
So yeah, that's little.
Okay.
I feel like that fits into Mulder After Dark. Yeah, a little bit of his personality there.
All right. Getting to name the enabler.
Name the enabler, obviously
Scully brings him. She bails him out of prison, which I know I feel like at this point, this is a tough one because it's like bail me out of Atlantic City prison.
Yeah.
Drive for 3 hours. Part of me feels like Scully should be like, you know what, Mulder, figure it out for yourself. Like you
take the train. You fuck.
Like she shouldn't.
Yeah.
And like she's setting a bad precedent where it's like, okay, now Mulder knows that she'll do this for him, and she doesn't know him enough to know that that's going to be a problem. But
right,
biggest enabler though, I would say the park ranger and the professor.
In their defense,
what you said is very true. As Mulder is an authority.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like they enable each other. They're all very bad for each other.
Right. They're codependent.
Yeah. They really could have just made a spin-off show of Mulder and these 2 guys solving mysteries.
Yeah, not the lone gunman. Make it these 3 guys. Yeah. Just fucking around. Finding like Loch Ness monsters and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mainly Scully.
Yeah.
Why on earth did she bring that to him? Like, what?
Yeah.
Just don't tell him.
Yeah, she's also at this point. I think one of the problems is Scully is, I guess I want to say, enabling like herself. She goes on a bad date.
Yeah,
and she doesn't like they show her at all the events with the kids and stuff, and she clearly doesn't like kids.
Yeah,
she's not into it, and so she uses Mulder as a reason to leave these things.
Exactly.
It becomes clear later in the show that it starts becoming the opposite problem, where it's like, Mulder, I was busy. It's Christmas Eve. Like, I'm now like this is the beginning. Like, this is excusable because she doesn't want to be there, and she's using Mulder as an excuse.
Yeah.
But it's just going to keep spiraling from here on.
Right. The fact that she responded this time, like,
yes,
it was okay this time that you paged me in the middle of the date because it was a terrible date.
Yeah.
My friends set me up with lame dudes. I'm not really into kids, so I'd rather be out there chasing a cannibal.
Right. But she should be setting boundaries.
Right.
But again, this is just a podcast about how crazy Mulder is. That isn't to say Scully is not also crazy in her own way.
A little bit.
And she is into Mulder. Like, I don't want to take that away from it, is that Mulder intrigues her. His insanity intrigues her.
At this, I mean, I know it gets romantic later, but at this point, she enjoys Mulder.
Yes.
She enjoys watching. That's why she comes into his office with this cannibal shit. She's like, I want to see what the fuck he says about this.
Probably the biggest world's luckiest detective is the fact that he's partnered up with a woman who is just like, I'm into this. I'm into this person's insanity, and I'm willing to keep entertaining it and follow along.
Right. At this point in the show, she enjoys him at an intellectual distance.
Yes.
She's definitely like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah, she's looking at him like a specimen.
Yeah.
when she sees him looking at porn, she her jokes are like you would joke like a kid you catch watching porn, where it's like
anti-gravity for real.
We talked about this in the first episode because she gets alone in a hotel room with him. There must have been a point where Scully looked at Mulder and was like, I can take him down if I need to. Yeah. If push comes to shove, I can detain this man.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't seem at all threatened by him in any way.
Mm-hmm. And he's the type of guy that takes, like, because she gives a little bit, like she gives him an inch in this episode by being like, okay, it's fine that you paged me when I told you I was busy.
Right.
But Mulder takes that. He's the kind of guy that like takes any flexibility and boundaries and just shatters them.
Yes.
Like he's like, oh, I can do this all the time then.
Yeah. And so she doesn't know it yet, but she is enabling him.
Yeah. Oh man, what a beloved character.
Yeah.
This fucking maniac.
What a great episode for Mulder's.
This is a solid maniac episode for Mulder.
Yeah, and I guess that brings us to Crazy Like a Fox. Where we rate just how crazy is he. Crazy
like a fox. Is it like 1, which is, I don't know, shouting at some kid who maybe doesn't deserve it?
Yeah.
Or a 10, driving your truck through a grocery store because you're pretty sure it's full of ghosts?
Yeah. I think we agreed on this. This is a solid 5.
Very solid 5.
Yeah. He wields a crazy Bigfoot picture, gets arrested. He lives like a hobo for 2 days.
Yeah. The amount, we mentioned it a little bit the last episode, but the reason I rated this is that this episode is such a perfect example of how once he gets possessed of something, this dumbass illustration, for instance, he becomes completely oblivious to the consequences of anything he does.
This also, I think he's getting so used to being like just a leaf blowing in the wind. This reminds me of the joke in The Other Guys where they jump off the building and they think just something's going to catch them.
Right. Mulder's
sort of like this where he's just like throws his keys and he's just like, I'm just going to wander out here and something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it does because that's how it's sort of been so far is people come to them and they're just like, I hear you're on this case. Well, here's a lead. And he's so used to, and that's why, I mean, we talk about Deep Throat being the biggest enabler because he's the epitome of this, of randomly being approached by someone like, here's all the information you need to know.
You're right.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do all along. Yeah, he doesn't have to do any work.
No, he deliberately strands himself in Atlantic City
because he knows
and it all works out for him. Like he sleeps in the trash, he pisses off the local detective, he gets arrested, he involves another state employee and a civilian.
When I say it all works out, what that means is he wasn't fired. That
he didn't
park
end up
ranger
dead or
probably
in prison.
lost his job.
Right, because he says he straight up tells Mulder, I got 2 more years left until a pension. I can't say the wrong thing here.
Yeah, he is fired. That man got fired.
Yeah, he lost his pension.
The woman lost her life, her kids in the woods. Like he ruins everything.
Yeah.
But he comes out all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to the Smithsonian. Yeah. He's got some great news.
I'm going to the Smithsonian. Maybe we'll swing by the Air and Space Museum. He's just a little boy. Yeah, just having a ball walking around the museums of Washington, D.C., telling him about Neanderthal.
Are we coming up on space, speaking of him being a little boy, or is that not?
Space is pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's next or not.
I don't know. I should have looked at what's next.
I can check real quick.
I guess, but you don't have to.
Man, what a this is an episode. This is interesting. Initially, one of the more forgettable episodes for me. I didn't really like this episode.
Yeah, this is a forgettable one for me as well.
Watching it through this lens has made it one of my favorite ones that we've watched so far. Fucking
tirade. He's
Jesus.
Oh my God. It's some fucking crazy Mulder shit.
Yeah, he is in rare form in this episode.
Yeah. It's the first one where they're like, all right, we're gonna show you what this guy can do.
Yeah.
We're gonna take him out for a spin.
Really show you what happens when you have a person in a position of authority that's just a lunatic. An impulsive lunatic.
Yeah.
The next episode is Shadows.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
So look forward to that, everybody.
Shadows.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
We might be giving. Is this one we're giving away?
I think
for
this
free?
is the free one. Yeah.
This is a free one, you guys. So you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed to our Patreon, you can get tons more of Fox Mulder as a Maniac. Just go to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed.
Yeah, you'll get all the previous episodes and every future episode we ever do.
As well as Tom and Jeff watch Batman. That's 2 podcasts.
2 whole exclusives. Exclusives?
Yeah.
The
Exclusive.
And check out our store. We got a store.
tpublic.something.
tpublic.com/stores/gamefullyunemployed. We got some shirts up there. We'll have some Mulder shirts up there.
Well, I'm bound to have some by now.
Got some T&J Watch B. We also got all the rest of our shows.
Yes.
So do those things.
Do all of those things, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thanks for your support.
Yeah.
The truth is out there.
No. Really?
Kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Sometimes
I'll accept it.
Sometimes the truth is just a naked homeless lady. And not a caveman like you want it to be.
Can't always be caveman's, Mulder.
Yeah, sometimes it's just crazy people.
Oh, man. Artwork for Fox Mulder as a Maniac is produced by Starlene Hodge. Follow her on Twitter at StarleneX, that's Starlene with an X, or check out her delightful webcomic at rubywhipple.com.